All right. Welcome back to Titan Esports for our Summer Split 2022. We are going to get us started underway here with our Divinity League matchup, the first matchup of the season. But before that, my name is Goose. I'm going to be your host for the Analyst Desk throughout the season. And I just want to let you guys know that we love bringing you content like this. So this is how you can help us as we bring content like this. Make sure that you tune in. Make sure that you are active in that chat. And then also give us some feedback as well in the Discord once we get away. What I'm going to do in a second is I'm just going to do some preseason rundown predictions based on just a little bit of snooping I did on all the teams out there. I did some snooping on all the teams. If you had a Twitter account, I checked it out. And other than that, I mostly just looked at op.gg. And if there are quite a few familiar faces returning to us from prior splits, both last summer and then the spring split that just passed, we have our returning champions, Big Damage Energy, as well as third place runner-ups. The same organization, but a different team with Team Ambition, as well as some familiar faces in Oasis, as well as maybe something suspicious going on with the P247 organization over there with the Team Suspicious. We're definitely going to get into that in a minute. How this is going to work is I'm just going to go run down. I'm going to talk about just some notes that I took on all of the teams, and then I'm going to give you a player to watch this season that I think is going to have the most impact. I also have organized the teams into high tier, mid tier, and low tier. This may change throughout the season as well. This is all based on just paper. I have not seen any of these teams except for Big Damage Energy, which is my hometown squad. So there's a little bit of favoritism, a little bit of bias. I will admit. But again, my name is Goose. You can find me on Twitter at good_for_the-gander. Definitely give me a follow and let me know how we can improve these over time. But let's get underway right away with just our preseason predictions. We're going to start off with Team Ambition Crab Wranglers and our match for tonight. They're racing the returning champions, but they also have some great returners returning from last split, and Singler Bread, their jungler, and Adam, the support. They're returning from the Team Ambition Crescent Rolls, who played and finished third place in our Divinity League spring split just over a little bit of a month ago. We also did a little bit of Twitter stalking as well, and just based on the infographics, this organization has a winning pedigree. They recently boasted about a 15-5 record across all teams across the league in the past week. For this team, the player to watch will be, for me, Cooper, their mid lane, who posts a pretty impressive number of games on the Victor, who is absolutely dominant this past year after the durability buffs. Just the scaling alone. So if Cooper is able to pull that off, however, I will say that he could be a Victor one-trick pony. We don't know. We don't know yet. But if this is the case, they may be exposed with a single ban. However, we're going to place Team Ambition based on their pedigree, based on their history, in that high tier, starting us off. All right, next up, we're on Off the Za. The good Za. They're going to be coming in. It appears that based on their Twitter, their organization seems to be focused on Valorant. However, Various meets their mid laner, posts a 63% win rate on about over 5 champs, and that's not easy to do. You're winning over 2/3 of your game in those solo queue, and also they're in different roles. We're talking about Set, we're talking about Samir, we're looking at Aurelia, Kaisa, and Vex, all with those high, incredible win rates. When you can play multiple roles successfully, it shows that you have the ability not just to understand just a single champion in a vacuum, but you probably understand how the game works. So we'll see how that plays out this season. My player to watch for Off the Za is going to be KKTI, their jungler, who their top champs are Eve, Lily, and Diana, all AP champs, which gives the team a bunch of versatility when you're coming to draft, right? You can now open it up and draft AD in those other lanes. However, AP jungle, by nature, can be a bit trickier to pull off, unless, of course, you're playing Shiv for all you meta abusers out there. However, we're going to put Off the Za in that mid-tier for this summer split right now. Again, these things might change. These are all just my opinions that I have based on a little bit of research that I did. All right, next up, we're going to move on to Dorado Gaming Kai. I hope that's Dorado Gaming Kai, maybe Dorado Gaming Shy. I don't know if they're off the O block, whatever it is. Their current plat team will be, I did do some stalking on them as well. Their current plat team, I believe, will be competing in the finals for Amateur Worlds, which is pretty impressive. That's incredible. So what I'm assuming is that the org must have at least a bit of pedigree, a little bit of that winning pedigree, and a winning formula over there. So hopefully that trickles down into their gold teams, as the Divinity League is a plat 4 cap, I believe. However, Patrol, their ADC, is posting some pretty incredible numbers on various ADCs, including meta-friendly ones like Jhin and Ashe. My player to watch is going to be Efron. While the quantity of champions that Efron seems to play is like it isn't as exceptionally as large as Patrol's, the ones that he does play seems to be making a huge splash in the solo queue meta with Vigar and Victor. It'll be interesting to see if he can translate his solo queue success into the team play. We're going to put this team, they're going to be a bit of an outlier. They're going to be in that high mid-tier. They're still going to be in that mid-tier, but we're going to put them at the high end of the mid-tier for the start of the season. Next up, we have Team Suspicious. Yeah, this team sounded a little sus. However, the thing that makes me the most suspicious about this team is I wonder if P247 org team, if it's like a P247 team in disguise, right? And their mid laner P247 Grazio makes me think that the most. However, suspicions aside, there's a little bit to go off for this team at the moment, so we'll definitely want to keep our eyes glued in future weeks and as we get a better grasp. However, my player to watch for this team is going to be Delta Conway, the ADC, coming in at a significantly lower rank than his counterparts. And while I know that rank isn't everything and there can sometimes be kind of a misconception, maybe you're not playing a lot of games, whatever it is, the rank is going to be a little bit lower than the average for the team for Delta Conway. And sometimes there can be added pressure to perform alongside those who have already proven they can climb the ranks this season. Especially in a role that has recently regained some of that significance post durability match. You're no longer playing a survival horror game when you play ADC now. You do have a bit more agency. So we're definitely going to see if Delta Conway can use this patch to really shine and kind of highlight that he can play at the same caliber as his teammates. All right, we're going to come to the returning Divinity Spring Split champions, Big Damage Energy. Returning champions, first off, we're going to say Isodak is looking like the GM of the year, recruiting 2 players from the finalists, Eden and Serpents, including Spring Split ADC All-Star Major coming in as a sub, as well as Notorious TLP, who is making that role swap from the top lane, you might have seen his Ornn, to the support role. However, things are getting tricky because the team is going through a little bit of a switch up, a little bit of a change up. So they do have a new bot lane, which we may find some struggles there just due to not much time playing together. But we're going to see how that plays out throughout the season and see if they can find that synergy. The player to watch for Big Damage Energy is going to be Yanks, their jungler. The durability patch has opened up the jungle. He's a prominent trundler. He plays a lot of trundle. He's a troll in the jungle who seems to be a big counter to the beefy boys that we're starting to see in the current meta. However, he has managed to sneak in a few more champions throughout his time in Titan. A few notables being Wukong and Nocturne. As each split, we are graced with slightly deeper insight into the potentially unbounded skill ceiling of this BDE jungler. Yanks has consistently been a staple of success in the past few splits, always seeming to be in the right place at the right time to best enable this team. They're the returning champions, so just by default, and also their caliber as skilled players, we're going to put them in that high tier at the beginning of this preseason split. Next up, we're going to talk about Team Pepe Soldiers. What stands out to me is that each player definitely seems to have maybe 1 or 2 champions that they really enjoy playing. And I feel like that's rare. I think oftentimes we're always bragging about how big our pool is. And sometimes it's nice to just see a community of people that really have their select few that they like to go to, whether it's Mortality, their ADC's Jinx, or Dadislaw's Jungle Amumu. The team players seem at first glance to really have a very intentional champion pool. All right, so the player to watch for me was going to be Tina of Tart. However, recent news and the roster shakeups, it looks like Tina of Tart is no longer with the team, so we're not going to have a player to watch, but definitely be on the lookout for Mortality's Jinx or Dadislaw's Amumu to make a splash on the league this split. We're going to place this team just based on a little bit of lack of information and maybe the potential to abuse or to have them kind of get called out by getting ban targeted with their small champion pool. So we're going to put them in the low tier for now, but we'll see how it plays out throughout the season. All right, we're halfway there. We have Oasis Maelstrom. Oasis, as an organization, is rejoining Titan Divinity. They were last seen in our 2021 summer split as Oasis Lunar. They do have some returning players from that team as well, in the Forgotten One, their mid laner, and resident skooma addict, Kaias Calcades, their jungler, who seemed to be the only returning players from that squad a year ago. While they didn't do too hot back then, they will be looking to shake things up with some new additions, including their head coach, Memories Maker. The player to watch for this team is going to be Cosmic Silence to support. Cosmic Silence appears to be a bot lane specialist. What I mean by that is he plays primary support or ADC. One of the best ways to know how to best support an ADC is to put yourself in their shoes, right? So you inevitably begin to think about what you would want to do as an ADC in certain situations revolving trading, wave state, roam timers, whatever it might be. We're looking to see if the extra bot lane experience can give Cosmic a slight edge over the competition. We're going to place Oasis Maelstrom based on their past, as well as their new additions and the returning players. We're going to put them somewhere in the mid tier. There's a little bit of vagueness around them, so I'm excited to see if they can find success this split in Divinity. Next up, we have the Reapers crew, TRC. This team comes into the league with, I will admit, a pretty or a significantly, not significantly, but a lower average team rank than most of the other teams in the league. And again, rank isn't everything, and a lot of team play has to do with how well you actually play together and how well you move as a team. Since the team has no current Titan history I'm aware of, that's really all we have to go off for now is their actual team rank. I'm expecting the lone gold player on the squad, See the Dark, their mid laner, and Ravenstorm, the support, to do much of the heavy lifting until we can get a better grasp of what the squad's capabilities are. The player to watch, though, is Jesus Juice, and holy Jesus Juice. The KDA on the TRC jungler would make you think he was trying to join a K-pop group. The scary part is that he's performing this well on champions that are currently also doing well in the meta. We're talking the Canes, we're talking the Woos, and even the Karthuses, or the Karthus eyes? I don't know. However you want to pluralize Karthus, you do that. But my bet is on Jesus Juice to pull out the first Bel'Veth this season. I can just feel the gusto radiating from this player. All right. We have two more teams to round out the preseason predictions, and then we're going to hop into our analyst desk for the start of the spring split Divinity Titan Esports season, our summer split. Apologies. Anyway, TD Aftermath, TDA, on paper, this team looks like they may just be a force to be reckoned with. Each player having a few select champions that they practice diligently, like Vikings top Darius or Mordekaiser or definitely let me know if I butcher this at some point. But Ikazuchi's ADC Samira and Zeri. However, even when they begin to stretch that pool and maybe play a few out of those comfort picks, they appear to still find ways to shine. Looking at you, Jester, right where that pocket picks win. We're not gonna let that one slide. We see that win rate. I wouldn't doubt that this team, as a collective, becomes notorious in Divinity for having some of the fastest hands. The only familiar face for this team would be their coach, Rapid Swamp Donkey, who has previously graced us with his presence in prior splits. The player to watch for TD Aftermath is going to be Convey, the jungle. Convey appears to play champions that can approach ganks from a variety of angles. We're talking Zac. We're talking Zac, Kane, Nocturne, all well within his wheelhouse. We'll be on the lookout to see what kind of creative gank paths Convey can have for us that might give his team a necessary boost whether it's through the element of surprise or maybe it's the element of darkness. But definitely we're going to keep our eyes on Convey. And here we are, last but not least, rounding out our preseason predictions and team overviews for the Divinity Summer Split. We're going to have AH GOAT. GOAT. I know AH stands for something. I'm just not sure what it is yet. So right now, you're GOAT. You can definitely let me know. GOAT comes to us this split with a plethora of familiar faces and perhaps a few new ones. Who knows, actually, because with how frequently people change their summoner names these days, looking at you, Finny, the experience of Titan vets, of IQ of the Coconut, Muddy, Pop-Tart, and Sub Voltsy, word on the street is Voltsy is just here for the free chips, right? He's riding the bench for the free chips, and we can definitely get behind that. But it will be interesting to see if the combination of experience and new talent will be enough to put Voltsy on their backpack as they attempt to chase the crown. I also was just informed that it's Abyssal Haven GOAT. So now my question is it actually GOAT or is it greatest of all time? So that's what I need to know. Definitely let me know what that is, Abyssal Haven. However, the player to watch for Abyssal Haven will be Downfall, their top laner. Downfall seems to be making the transition from ADC to top this split to help round out his team. While he seems to also perform well in solo queue on the island that is top lane, competitive play tends to have top lane see a bit more jungle proximity. So we'll be watching to see if Downfall is able to adjust both to the new role and the increase in jungle pressure. Definitely let us know what you think about these preseason predictions. But that's going to do it for us on the preseason predictions. We're going to get started with the analyst desk in just a few short moments. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure you tune in week after week as we continue to bring content like this. We always want feedback on how we can improve. And be sure to give me a follow at good_for_the_gander on Twitter, and let me know what you think about these preseason predictions. We're going to go into a little short break before we get into our analyst desk segment, but we're going to get onto the riff with the start of our summer split with the returning champions, Big Damage Energy versus Team Ambition Crab Wranglers for our first stream match of Titan Esports Summer Split. We'll see you in a bit.